Trump already visibly sweating, that right eye swollen almost completely shut. We still don't know why that happens, but it does. But it does. Oh, man. He is hinging forward at the waist. He's not gotten away from that. Thanks to Extamstu, who has just gifted a subscription on Twitch, number 153. Also, thanks to Hexperiment, who just signed up with the message Obama. We are going to be hearing from Donald Trump tonight about his renewed commitment to getting away from fossil fuels and towards green energy, as well as to bringing a more respectful and civil tone to American politics. Trump will also weigh in completely soberly on what would be a fair tax rate for billionaires. And who the hell am I kidding? He's not going to do any of that stuff. He'll probably just insult Biden. None of that stuff I just mentioned is going to happen. If for 30 seconds you got your hopes up that he was going to do those things I just said, I'm sorry, because he's not. Thanks to Eva Wilburn, new member 155 on my website today. There are, if you missed it, there was a group of a dozen or so nuns that were trotted in about 15 minutes ago. Unclear if they will play some kind of a political role. And last reminder, the venue fits 5,500 people. If Donald Trump talks about there's 30,000 people here, or there's 50,000 people, the venue has a capacity of 5,500. Remember that. That's a key number for today. If he tries to claim otherwise. Oh, edgy super chat. I'm not even going to read it because it's very, very edgy.
Thank you. Well, that's some crowd. We have thousands of people outside. Hello, Michigan. It's great to be with you. Great to be with you. So nice. And we just came in. We have thousands and thousands of people outside. And it's an honor. And I wish this building were about 4 or 5 times larger, but we love you and we put up.
Oh, God, you guys called it.
And I hope they can see it. And it's not that cold. It's not that cold. I went to South Carolina. It was the coldest night they have on record. It was 29 degrees. I said, that's cold.
It can't be true that that's the coldest ever in South Carolina.
We can now hear and all over the country. They love us and we love you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Trump looks all wet.
Thrilled to be back with you in your beautiful state with thousands and thousands of hardworking, proud American patriots. That's what you are. You built our country. 7 months from now, the people of Michigan are going to fire the radical left Democrats who are destroying our country. And you're going to throw out Gretchen Whitmer, the job that she's done.
Who are we thinking is the most comical person visible in the background right now? Maybe guy in the red hat with the glasses over Trump's right shoulder?
First Republicans up and down the ballot. And together we are going to end crazy Nancy Pelosi's political career once and for all.
I mean, she's going to retire soon. They'll probably take credit for that, but
term elections could not be higher. I don't think we've ever had a time in our country where we felt so low, so dejected. What's going on is absolutely unacceptable. We're living through the most dangerous period of our lifetime, and we have a president who has no idea what's going on. He has no idea what he's doing, and he's got no idea what he's saying or where he is. Other than that, he's doing a fantastic job. The presidential election was rigged and stolen, and because of that,
that's a lie.
The country is being destroyed.
But this is a cult, guys. Do not be confused. This is a cult.
Joe Biden's mental and physical decline with your vote this November, we can stop our country's decline and make America great again. Everything the radical left touches turns into a catastrophic mess, the likes of which we have never seen before. To this extent, we have never seen anything like it before. Biden and the congressional Democrats triggered massive inflation.
No, they didn't.
American energy,
like, who would possibly believe that?
Being crushed by the highest gas and food prices in the history of our country. Can you believe it?
I want to know what Joe Biden did to raise the prices of gas in Suriname.
Democrat-run cities, ambush-style attacks on police officers along with police officer deaths have more than doubled in a single year, and violent carjackings are ravaging Detroit, Chicago, Minneapolis, and Milwaukee, and many other cities at a rate never before seen. Think of that. Biden is appointing far-left crazies to the federal bench and ordering and you know what's happening here with the Department of Justice?
Now, that was a glitch. That was a brain glitch. Did you guys notice? He caught on the word and twitched. We don't know what that is, but that is the brain glitch that he's had for years now.
Beautiful parents, they're being targeted. He's begging and pleading with Iran to re-enter the disastrous nuclear deal that I terminated. That was a great termination. We would have had a deal had the election been different. By the way, we had some great election, and you people delivered. Unfortunately, the vote counters.
Biden won Michigan. You guys know that, right?
Yeah, we did win. We did win.
What a cult. And these people are dangerous. That's the thing. These people are dangerous.
But we won by a lot, not just a little bit. We won by a lot. Biden delivered the single.
Actually, let's go over here.
With his surrender in Afghanistan, that was terrible. And now Biden's weakness has given us the Ukraine disaster. Biden is also now pleading with the Venezuelan dictator to sell us oil. What do we need his oil for? We have so much right under our own feet, more than any other country. We have liquid gold under our own feet, and we're dealing with Venezuela, a far cry from the Trump administration where we were energy independent for the first time.
We're energy independent still. I've gone through the data on my show. This is another lie. The people in the room don't have a clue what's going on.
Seems like a long time ago, but we were energy independent. We were selling oil to other countries. We were making an absolute fortune. And you remember when, not so long ago, a year and a half ago, $1.87 a gallon. Remember that?
So it was $2.20, and it was like a year and a half ago, and it was the middle of a pandemic. And I mean, you guys know.
Said that, and I said, you're going to be trading in your big, luxurious cars and trucks for little tiny cars. The choice this November is very simple. If you want high crime, high prices, high taxes, high corruption, and high incompetence, vote for the radical Democrats. If you want a country that is strong, sovereign, solvent, safe, and secure, you must vote for America First Republicans. Have to do it. But of all the Biden catastrophes, perhaps none is more dangerous or devastating than his complete annihilation of America's borders. What's happening? What's happening?
What?
When I left office, we handed the new administration the most secure border in the history of our country. We never had a border so secure ever before, and that includes drugs coming in. We never had anything like it. We had ended catch and release. We had stopped asylum fraud and built nearly 500 miles of beautiful wall, just like the Border Patrol wanted. Our border was sealed.
Wait, so was it 500, or was the entire border wall almost done, as he's been said many times before?
But then Biden and the open borders these extremists, these sick extremists systematically dismantled the border security measures we put into place and brought illegal aliens streaming across the southern border in numbers like we've never seen before. And the real numbers are even higher than those being reported. They're at a level that nobody's even thought possible. Just yesterday, the Biden administration terminated the critical Title 42 protection that I put into place to ensure
John Tobacco. Could that possibly be real?
And to end Title 42, Biden will be opening the floodgates to a far greater extent than even now. And we will be deluged by illegal immigration like no country has ever witnessed or had to endure. An estimated 500,000 illegal aliens per month. And now it's probably even 1 million people per month are pouring into our country. And you have many of these people are criminals. This could be 12 million people a year. That's a big percentage of the people in our country.
It's completely untrue.
Million that is commonly being reported. That's fake news by all those people. Look at all those people.
Remember, the only people in the back are right-wing media. It's right-wing media and us covering this trash.
That's fake news. This could be 10 or 12 million people coming in a year. This is incredible what's happening. And they're getting rid of all of these, Remain in Mexico. You know about Remain? I made a deal with Mexico. Remain in Mexico. Don't come here. He ended it. He wanted to end the deal. And now the courts are forcing him because they say we had a deal. So he's going with a much more somber deal, not a good deal, and not a proper deal, and not a deal that's going to work. Remember, as almost everyone said, I was right about everything, and that's true. I was right about everything. Fuel, the border, the military.
Yeah, they've canceled indoor heating and cooling, just like he said Biden would. This woman seems to be having a grand old time, huh?
Radical Democrats are spending billions and billions of dollars trying to secure the borders of distant foreign countries, many of which you've never even heard of. But I believe Americans deserve a president who will secure our borders, the borders of our nation, who will protect our citizens, who will defend our sovereignty, and who will stop the biggest invasion ever of our country and probably of any country. There's never been anything like it. We're being invaded, and that's the word. We're being invaded by millions and millions of people. Many of them are criminals who should not be allowed into our country. We're going to be paying a price, and a very big one, long into the future. You'll wait and see. Unfortunately, I'll be right about that one, too.
Oh, yeah.
And that includes the thousands and tens of thousands of people we took in from Afghanistan. They rushed the planes. 3% of those people were entitled to come back. 3%. We have thousands and thousands of people. They rushed those planes, and those planes took off with 28 people falling off the sides. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. These people don't know what they're doing, but our country is being systematically destroyed. It's being destroyed. Nothing like this has ever happened to another country. Even a third world country protects their borders at least a little bit. And let there be no doubt, the Biden administration is resetting this humongous wave of illegal aliens in communities like yours all across America. Congratulations. And demanding that you, the American taxpayer...
Okay, so when I said this woman is having a grand old time, I didn't realize. So people are saying that she has a medical condition. I see now she may have something Parkinsonian going on. I didn't even notice that when I said she was having a good time. I just meant she was clapping, okay? I'm not making fun of anyone. I now see it. I won't talk about that woman again.
Now, too many hands are going up. If any part of our country is going to be turned into a migrant camp, it should not be the communities of hardworking Americans. It should be the neighborhoods of the radical left politicians who have callously thrown open America's borders. Even as Biden has opened our borders to the largest number of illegal aliens in history by far, he has handcuffed our great ICE agents. These are brave people. These are people that go all over the country. They go into, they call them nests of killers. And they go charging in, and they take them out, and they throw them the hell out of our country and bring them back where they came from. These are great people, and they're scorned by the radical left. They're keeping your communities safe. Our ICE agents and slashed. If you take a look at the deportations, they cut the hell out of it. They want to get rid of ICE. They want to get rid of Border Patrol. These are incredible patriots. These are people that are very brave. I see some very tough people on the front row. Not one of those people want to be an ICE agent. None of them want to be an ICE. It's tough. ICE has been functionally abolished to grant safe haven to savage gang members like MS-13 and vicious criminals just as AOC plus 3. You know who AOC plus 3 is?
No.
Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, that's another beauty. They've always dreamed this is what they want. And just like they've destroyed Israel from within the halls of Congress, they're totally, I mean, Israel has taken a hit like no other country's taken.
Israel's fine.
It used to be hands off Israel 15 years ago. Today, Israel is scorned and mocked by these people like never before.
It is scorned and mocked by those people, but Israel's fine.
Dealers with human traffickers and thugs, and that's what's happening too. The radical Democrats believe America should be a sanctuary for dangerous criminal aliens. Republicans believe our country should be a sanctuary for law-abiding Americans and people that want to live the American dream. Whatever happened to the American dream?
You killed it.
They want to destroy our country, and they want to destroy the American dream. They don't want you to have the American dream. One of the first bills a Republican Congress will pass.
Yeah, the super chat is pointing out that there is a kid on the stage. There is a question as to whether it would be under some sense child abuse to bring kids to this.
Thousands of new agents to find and remove every single illegal alien who's causing us unbelievable problems that unlawfully allowed and was allowed to come into our country. You could take the first and take it 5, 2, 12, but you could take the 5 worst presidents in American history and probably a hell of a lot more than that and put them together, and they would not have done the damage that Joe Biden has done in our country in just 15 months. The damage is unbelievable.
Anybody seen the stock market and the unemployment rate recently? I mean, like, you know, some things are not so good and some things are pretty good. It's hard to argue that this is the worst America's ever been.
I'll fix it. We're gonna fix it. What a shame. What a shame. Never been a period of time like this. As everyone is saying, Russia's outrageous invasion of Ukraine. Who would ever thought this was going to happen? I thought he was negotiating. He had 150,000 soldiers on the border. I said, oh, he's going to make a great deal. He could have made a great deal. I believe when he saw what happened in Afghanistan, the way we ran, and you know, when I was running that, 18 months, we didn't have one soldier killed in 18 months. And you've heard me tell the story. I spoke to Abdul. I said, Abdul.
Oh, no.
There's no more killing of our soldiers, Abdul. Well, you're going to be hit so hard, you're going to be hit harder than anybody's ever been hit. But why, Your Excellency, do you send me a picture of my house?
Not this story again.
You'll have to ask other people that question. But you know what? Not one person was killed for 18 months, and Biden even said that. He stood up, he said, well, I have to say, nobody was killed in 18 months, at which case the television cameras were, turn off those cameras. They didn't like it when he said that.
None of that happened.
They didn't like it, but it's true. 18 months, and then we lost 13, but you know, they don't talk about how horribly so many of them were wounded with the legs and the arms and the face and everything else. But this invasion of Ukraine would never have happened if I was in the White House. Not even a chance. Would have never happened. Would have never happened. Not even. And I knew Putin very well. You know, they say, oh, he knows Putin. He knows Putin. Oh, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. I know Kim Jong-un. I know President Xi of China. And you know what? We had no conflict, remember? North Korea is going to be a nuclear war, according to Obama and everybody else. We're going. What happened? Didn't happen. Although I tell you, he's not happy. He doesn't like the person in office right now. But nothing happened. We kept you safe. We rebuilt our military at a level that nobody thought possible.
I love that because this one's indoors in like a gym. It's so echoey that like the lone crazy people yelling stuff the entire speech are way more annoying than when it's just outdoors and their voices go into nowhere.
That are doing the trick. Then they say Trump's friendly to Russia. Really? I'm the one that revealed the pipeline, Nord Stream 2. You never heard of the pipeline. Nobody. There's these crooked people back here. They're crooked as a $4 bill. Can't say $2 bill because they actually make $2 bills. Yeah, that's a crooked bunch.
A lot of people don't know there's $2 bills.
Corrupt. The press in this country is corrupt. They're corrupt, and they know it, too. All you had to do is look at what the New York Times just announced recently. That's all you have to do. In fact, I stand as the only president of the 21st century on whose watch Russia and Putin did not invade another country. In fact, I told this story.
I mean, with separatists, they were occupying the Donetsk and Luhansk, but...
It's meet the press, but I call it meet the fake press. Or deface the nation, right? One of them. But they asked whether or not, they were talking to Blinken. He's another beauty. And they said, how come nothing happened like with Ukraine, with Taiwan, with North Korea? How come nothing happened with Iran? They were ready to make a deal. They would have made a great deal. Now they want billions and billions of dollars. But the good news is they were very smart. You know what they did? They got Russia to negotiate our deal with Iran. That's a good one. And you know who's helping Russia negotiate the deal? China. How's that? Boy. That's going to be a good, and you know how many points we've won? None. We won no points. So we have Russia negotiating the deal with China as a backup. How stupid is this country? How stupid.
Very.
The deal is a disaster. It's turning out to be, nobody can even believe it. But we're giving everything away. All the things that we fought for with Iran, they would have made a deal within 1 week after we took office. They would have made a deal. They were so ready to make a deal. We had sanctions. Well, that's a good question. We can do a lot. We can do a lot. We can do a lot. And you know what? We have cards. We had all the cards. We still have cards. If they knew how to play them, they still have cards. The only thing they're good at is fixing elections. That's about the only thing they do. Fixing elections, rigging them. Also, during my 4 years, China never invaded Taiwan, did they? Huh? Now they're sending planes over, they're sending bombers over. You had a president who not only completely rebuilt our military, including the addition of Space Force. Remember, they smiled. Remember that?
Look at this guy. This guy loves Space Force right here. This guy in the hat. He loves it.
75 years ago, Space Force, it's going to be very important having it. You know, if you look at China and Russia, they had a big lead, and now we're leading because we did that. That was so important, but they left.
Did the camera just move? There's completely different people visible now on stage behind him.
The woman with the really beautiful red hair, she left. And she was hit so hard by the military because they knew I was right. The military understood I was right. You know, she's going to MSDNC. You know that, right? Right? They need a redhead. They don't have a redhead over there, so they need a redhead. But you also had a president who always put our country first. It was America first, always.
I read an entire 500-page book about Jim Jones and the People's Temple. There's a hell of a lot of overlap between that cult and this one.
Thank you. What incredible spirit. You know, the rallies we have now are bigger than the rallies from before the election.
No, they're
because
not.
people are so angry.
Wrong.
They're so angry.
Not true.
The radical left Democrats put America last, and that's where they intend to keep you. They want to put us last. And nobody understands why. What the hell are they doing? Nobody really understands. It's like, do they love our country? Maybe they don't love our country. The only way you can do the things, they're not stupid. The only way you can do what they're doing is you have to hate our country. Historians will record this period of American history as a catastrophic low point and a stain upon our once.
True, but that they're going to say that about Trump's 4 years.
Get rid of that stain. Never has our country been treated with such disrespect and scorn by other world leaders. They treat us like they don't even
Back in
talk
five.
to this guy. He calls them up. We haven't had a chance to call him back 2 weeks later. No, they don't even return his phone calls. I believe it started after the way in which we withdrew from Afghanistan, and when they looked at our borders, the way they were taking advantage of us on the borders was so bad. You know, they see it, millions and millions of people coming in. When they saw that, other countries, smart, they did things that nobody could believe that they were willing to do. And they saw the dead soldiers, they saw the wounded soldiers, they saw leaving American citizens. Right now, they're called hostages. You have many citizens that the Taliban is holding. They didn't get enough with the $85 billion. Maybe we ought to go in and take it back. Dumbest thing I've ever seen. Finest military equipment in the world they have, them, from the goggles to the 700,000 machine guns, rifles, guns. You know, they're one of the largest arms sellers in the world now. They're selling much of the equipment because they can't use it. 70,000 trucks. Now, I don't know anything about the automobile business except that I saved it for your state, okay? But how many, take the biggest car salesperson and company in the country, they don't have 70,000 cars or trucks. 70,000 trucks, many of them armor-plated, many of them worth millions and millions of dollars. And they have it now. And then they did us the great honor of having a parade 2 weeks after we left, using the word left very nicely, because I don't like the word surrendered, but we surrendered. And there was no reason to. They had such, they were fine, they were behaving. I said, nobody being shot. We were gonna get out. We were there 21 years. I'm the one that got it down to 2,000 soldiers, but I was gonna keep Bagram. You had to keep Bagram, a big Air Force base that's 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. Think about that, 1 hour away. We've never seen anything like this before, but we will come back, and we will come back strong. You watch. There could be no more vivid example than their anti-American energy agenda, inspired by the socialist joke known as the Green New Deal. We're all environmentalists. We want clean air. We want clean water. You know, it's pretty amazing, right? So China's very dirty, very dirty. The air comes up, the fumes come up, everything comes up. It doesn't stay there. It floats to the United States. India. I love a lot of people in India, but it's very dirty. They have no pollution control. The air goes up, and the air floats over to the United States. Every one of these countries, Russia, take a look at the Arctic. They call it black ice. That's from dirty factories. And yet we're clean. Our air goes up and it's clean. So who the hell gets it? Nobody knows, because it's clean. But what are we doing? And we're increasing the cost. You look at these windmills that are all over the place, ruining farms, ruining land, ruining our landscape. And you remember I said it is very intermittent energy, intermittent. Remember when I used to say during the campaign, darling, darling, I'd love to watch the president. I love the president. I'd love to watch him tonight in the debate. debating mostly the commentators, not Joe.
What the hell is he talking
Chris
about?
Wallace. Like Chris Wallace. I said, Joe, why did you and your family get $3.5 million from the wife of the mayor of Moscow? What did you get? And Chris Wallace said, you have no right to ask that question. How good was that question now, right? The noise causes cancer. This week, Biden released a budget that proposes 11 new taxes on oil and gas production.
Great.
At a time of record high gas prices, which are making our enemies rich. These numbers at $150 a barrel, it's going much higher.
It's like at 100.
Much higher. California now is over $8 a gallon for gasoline. In addition, your crazy Democrat governor and your attorney general, who's vicious and doesn't have a clue, but she is indeed vicious, what she's trying to do to people. They're trying to shut down Michigan's line. You know this, right? Line 5. You know what line? Who knows what the hell Line 5 is?
Was that a glitch? Did he just glitch again?
This is a very well-read crowd. But they're trying to shut down Line 5 pipeline that provides 55% of all propane gas in the state of Michigan. They want to close it. What the hell are they going to do when it's closed? It's crazy. If Joe Biden were serious about fighting inflation and helping the middle class, the first thing he would do is walk into the White House briefing room and announce that he is immediately and completely returning the pro-American energy policies of a president named Donald John Trump. It's very simple.
It'd be a very confusing statement if he made that statement. It wouldn't make any sense.
So simple. It's so simple. Gas prices would immediately plummet. We had them down. In fact, I was having a problem. I got them.
You guys all know that basically what Biden can do is tap the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. It'll lower prices 5 to 15 cents a gallon. That's it. And it would have no impact on the gas prices all over the world, which are high everywhere. You guys know that, right? I don't have to tell you. You guys actually are a well-read crowd, I believe.
At the consumer, I started worrying about, the energy company's going to make it? But you know what? They produced, and they produced big, and we got it up a little bit, and the price of gasoline was at a record low, and your heating and all of the other things, your electric.
You know, what's really frustrating, and listen, guys, if you want no commentary, go watch it on Newsmax or something. What's frustrating about the gas price thing is the gas price conversation is so simple. It's like, listen, gas prices are up all over the world. The president can do 3 things when it comes to gas prices. Invade a country that produces oil. It'll skyrocket gas prices. Try to eliminate the gas tax. That'll lower gas prices. Tap the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. It'll drop the gas price 5 to 15 cents temporarily. That's what a president can do on gas prices. We don't need to keep talking about gas prices.
Ukraine, the Mueller report, all of the crap they pulled, despite all of that, impeachment hoax number 1.
Oh, God, look at this Soros show they've got. Soros, Politics of Crime. Oh, my God. This is insane.
But you know what? We produced for the American people, and we produced for our country better than just about any other president in history. So in that way, it was fun. Thank you. Thank you. You know, it's funny. Somebody said today, is it true that you gave up your salary? I didn't take salary. And I figured a lot of rich presidents didn't take it. You know what? I was the only one.
Yeah. He made $1.6 billion during his 4 years in the White House. It would mean a little more for him to forego his salary if he said, I'm also not going to be making money from all of my businesses while I'm also the president.
It's $450,000, so I wouldn't take it. But if somebody stays in one of my rooms or hotel rooms for $500, $700 a night, it's like, oh, I'm dealing with the Arabs. I'm taking advantage. Now think of it.
Is he having a stroke right now?
They would call the sleaze back there, the press. They would call. They'd say this. Did he give up his salary this month? And the answer is yes. next month. Did he give up his salary this month? The answer was yes. This went on for 4 years, right? And you know what was written? Nothing. But you know what? If they ever said, no, he didn't, it would be a front page headline. Really, these are really disgraceful things. You know, we need our press back. We need a fair press. We need a fair press. And it would be so much easier to make America great again. It really would. It'd be so much easier to make our country great. We have a corrupt press, corrupt like never before. Nobody could believe it. I dealt with the press. I used to get great press before I ran for politics. I had great press. That's one of the reasons I guess I ran. I got such good press, I ran. But I had great press, and then all of a sudden I run, and we are of a conservative bent. It's not conservative. You know what it is? It's really a common sense bent. I don't say conservative. I say it's common sense.
It is true that nothing about Trump's policies are conservative. They're just reactionary and ignorant.
Taxes, biggest tax cut in history. We want low taxes. We want few regulations, biggest regulation cut in history. We want a powerful military. We built the greatest military, $2.5 trillion. All of these things, I mean, we want great schools. We want great schools. And we want fair school boards, not crazy people. But from the border crisis to the energy crisis, from the Afghanistan disaster to the Ukraine disaster, all of this is a consequence of the rigged election. It's all a consequence. If we didn't have that election, you would have no inflation. We had no inflation. We had better than no inflation. We had 1%. You know, they want 1%. They don't want to have, they want like 1%. They even like 2%. I like 1% better. And if you're in the real estate business, you like inflation until everything crashes. What happens is you're making a fortune, then everything crashes. Then it goes fume. It goes up, and then it comes down. But eventually that happens. But we had the best because we had 1%. It was perfect. Our gas prices were under 2.
Anybody know what he's talking about?
In some cases. Everything was good. We had more jobs ever. 160 million jobs. We had more jobs than we've ever had in our country in history. And that includes today, we're 7 million under.
I really hope he tells the relatable supply chain story of how it takes 8 months to get a custom diamond ring from Tiffany right now.
All they had to do when they came in, despite the way they came in, is just go to the beach and relax. We had the border solved. We had the low taxes. We had the low regulations. Countries were coming into our country again. They were stopping bringing companies out of Michigan to move to other states and not other states, because frankly, I will say, I said, you want to move to another state, you can move, but you can't move to another country. You can't move to another country. And the truth is, I ran twice. We won twice, and we did much better the second time than we did the first.
This is literal fascist propaganda now.
We may have to do it again. And just to cover it quickly, because I don't want to take a lot of time, but it's
Please don't.
Coming out, this Truth to Vote, where they found all the thousands and thousands of ballot harvesters. You've seen that. Truth to Vote. Well, you see that. That's coming out in 2 weeks. When you see those numbers, I think it's 4 or 5 million people cheating. Those numbers are coming out. Now, the press hates like hell to cover it. Oh, and they go crazy because they have a lot of live television. I'm talking.
It's Newsmax and Right Side in the back of the room there. That's it. It's right-wing media there.
The cameras, who cares? But right here, just quickly, in Michigan, your corrupt state officials sent out 7.7 million unsolicited mail-in ballot applications to everyone on the rolls, including people that were dead and those who no longer live in the state.
Now, remember, guys, if you send an absentee ballot to someone who requested it when alive and they've since died and they don't fill it out and return it, there's no crime, there's no story, there's no big deal. It's literally a non-event.
You have a corrupt election. You mail it in and somebody is supposed to be at a house and they send it back. You're guaranteed to have a corrupt election. Your radical Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, ordered election clerks to assume that all signatures on mail-in ballots were valid which was later found by the Michigan State Court to be flagrantly illegal. It was found. What happened? They didn't do anything. They didn't make any changes. Zuckerberg, he used to come kiss my ass at the White House.
Oh, God.
Sir, Mr. Zuckerberg is on the phone. He'd love to have dinner with you, sir. Sir. He flooded local Michigan election offices with nearly $17 million. You know, in a great state, Nebraska, a congressman is being put in jail over a few dollars that he possibly didn't even know anything about. He's going to jail, a few $1,000s, and yet this guy gives $417 million to all the...
It is strange how no matter what state he goes to, the exact same types of people with the exact same delusional beliefs show up in droves who say, you're actually the president and the vaccines turn you into a squirrel. And it's this, no matter where he does it, they show up.
A number of thousands, like $20,000. And he said he didn't know about it. Now, who knows? Maybe he did, maybe 20,000. This guy did $417 million among the different states. You got millions and millions of dollars here. And the majority went to deep blue areas, and in particular, the corrupt Democrat-run cities, including the TCF Center in Detroit. That's an honest place, where there was fraud and major irregularities. A lot of fraud, a lot of irregularities, but your Democrats didn't want to look, and you have a lot of rhino Republicans that didn't want to look too. I think in many ways the rhinos are worse than the Democrats because at least you know where the Democrats are coming from. The rhinos are bad news. You know what rhino is? Republican in name only. So let's get this straight. The Democrats commit massive and overwhelming voter fraud in the 2020 presidential election,
which they still have not been able to show any evidence of.
For investigating and protesting a very crooked election. Well, that sounds reasonable. The people that corrupted our election, they have no problem. The people that are looking for the truth and they're looking for the corruption, which has largely been found, they should go to jail. They should go to jail.
Is the evidence coming
soon? Democrats are saying. Republicans must get tough and smart and not let them get away with the crime of the century any longer. As one critical step, we have to fire the radical Democrat officials who gave us this total calamity, starting with your socialist Secretary of State, Benson, and your lawless Attorney General, Dana Nessel. She's very terrible. She's terrible. We're joined tonight by two incredible candidates who are going to beat those extreme leftists this November.
Uh-oh.
They're great people. These are great people. I know them well. First, I'm pleased to introduce your next Michigan Secretary of State. This is a wonderful woman with a beautiful mom and dad who I just met backstage. Christina Caramo. Christina.
Some high-risk reading there.
Mom. Come up, Christina. A college professor, a Christian, and a true American patriot. She is a fearless champion for election integrity. In November 2020, Christina spent days at the TCF Center in Detroit and was appalled by the cheating and the corruption that she witnessed. Christina bravely stepped forward and testified to the Michigan legislature, and I will tell you, she made such an impression. That's why everybody wants to vote for her right now. They love her. But the leftist rhinos didn't care what she said. They didn't want any part. They'd say, Trump is winning big. He'll do it again. No. What happened in the past? Do it again. We won't have a...
One of the things Trump won't tell you is that Caramo was a main spreader of complete and total lies about the 2020 election for months after the 2020 elections. Any lie, even the ones that would make some Republicans blush, she was willing to tell.
Citizenship confirmation, residency confirmation, little things like that. Signature verification, the elimination of Zuckerberg Dropbox. I call him the
That's a glitch.
Unlock boxes.
That was another
they call
glitch.
them lock boxes. I call them unlock boxes. Ironclad chain of custody protections. And very importantly, she wants something very simple. It's called voter ID. Does that make sense? So Christina is running to defeat Jocelyn Benson, who is absolutely bad news for this state. She's so bad for this state. The diehard left-wing radical who has gutted your state's election integrity measures just weeks after the corrupt 2020 election.
If this were only comedy and not a movement with people that vote, it would just be hilarious, right? I mean, if this wasn't actually a movement where some of these people are winning.
Prevent a full audit. Christina knows this. I just want to ask Christina, I know she spoke before, but I was trying to get here. You know, we had very bad weather, and they said, sir, I don't think you're going to be able to make it. I said, my ass, I won't be able to make it.
Sure, you're on the cover of Time magazine.
Congratulations, sir. You just won the election.
No, it's true, Christina. I said, what are our chances of landing safely? They said at least 90%. I said, okay, let's. Now, we had very bad weather, and there was no way I was going to miss it. And so I appreciate all the guys. That was a rough trip. I never knew an airplane could be so rough, Christina, but I just like to ask Christina, this is a...
Everybody really relates to turbulence on private jets. That's everybody, the kid in the background especially.
First, I want President Trump, thank you for what you did for our country. You pulled the scale off of so many people's eyes of how there's a cabal of people in leaderships bent on destroying our
Oh my
country.
God.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
We
He
actually
pulled the scales off of their eyes?
our country, and who didn't do it to advance himself, but to actually fight back. Thank you. Because that's what we need in leadership. You know, what's interesting,
Oh God, it's a Q nut. It's a Q nut.
didn't vote in the 2020 election. And what's so interesting of all the lies told about me, that's the most infuriating thing. Like, why would I spend all that time at the TCF Center, knock doors for President Trump, and turn around and not vote? But then I FOIA'd my application to vote, proving that I voted in the 2020 election, even though, according to the state of Michigan, I didn't vote. And there are so many people across the state where, according to the Secretary of State, they voted different than they actually did vote. But we're insurrectionists, we're traitors, big
Is this QAnon?
questions. But then our media protects corrupt politicians and demonizes citizens for speaking up. So I am so excited to be your next Secretary of State, to make sure that no matter who you vote for, what you believe, your vote counts and your vote isn't nullified by an illegal ballot.
Hey, is scales off of eyes anti-Semitic? Can somebody get me some data on that?
Trump, you inspired so many people to run for office, to stand up and fight back, because he cannot do it by himself. It's an army of people across our state who are fighting back, little MAGA warriors, and we're getting the job done. Thank you.
Oh my God. That is scary shit, guys.
I wanted to speak more. Come up and speak again. Now, look, Christina, feel good about your vote because somebody voted for you, okay? That's what happened. Many, many people all over the country, they go to vote. Republicans like to vote on Election Day. Another thing, we should go back to Election Day, not where ballots are
Trump voted weeks early by mail. You guys remember that, right?
safely supported by you-know-who is supporting them, right? Where they throw our vote watchers out of, you saw that in Philadelphia, in Detroit. But the good news for Christina is that her vote counted. Unfortunately, it counted for the person that she would have never wanted to see in office because somebody else voted for her. That happened all over. People would come in to Philadelphia, Detroit, a lot of different places. They're so proud. They're so proud.
What's funny is the story the woman told was that some people said she didn't vote and she provided evidence that she did. Trump's talking about people who say they didn't vote, but they go to vote and then they're told you've already voted. It's the opposite story.
Ma'am, you voted. This happened thousands and thousands of times. You know, some people were angry beyond belief. Some people started to cry. Some people just left. They said, this is the system. It's a corrupt system. We're like a third world country, and we're going to stop it. And Christina and Matt are going to lead that effort. So thank you.
If that lady wins, the state is screwed.
Great job. And your parents are beautiful. Where are your parents? Where are they? Boy, oh boy, what? Look at her mother and her father. They are beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much. You've done a very good job, and you're proud. You're proud of Christina. Thank you, darling. Thank you. In addition, I need everyone to support. It's so important. These two positions, so important. And this is not just the election for it. This is crime in your state, crime in your cities. This is a lot of different things. But you have to support Michigan's next Attorney General, a great and powerful lawyer, a tough cookie, which is what you need. Somebody said, well, he's very tough. That's what you need. Who is putting his life and reputation on the line, Matt DePerno.
Uh-oh. This guy's kooky.
Matt is a lifelong Michigander who has practiced law for 25 years and a conservative warrior who will never fail the people of this state. In fact, you know, when I first met Matt, he was hated.
Look at this guy.
When I first met Matt, he was a lawyer up here who was hated by a lot of these weak politicians, the weak ones, the rhinos. Others loved him because he got the job done. But he did numbers on them that were unbelievable in the courts, and he really held them accountable. He's a highly competitive person. After the 2020 election, Matt led the explosive investigation to what happened in Antrim County, where, among other irregularities, votes were switched by mistake and had to be...
Isn't that the county where a Hanukkah brisket voted?
Oh, they said, it was just a mistake. Oh, okay, good, it was a mistake. The machines made a little mistake. Thank you very much for acknowledging after they get caught. Gee, that was a mistake. After people pointed out that it was impossible that Trump had lost. These are areas where we had vast majorities and we lost. So when they went in, they found out that the vote was correct, except then they found out that it was a big mistake. And they apologized. Hell of a lot of good that did us. As your Attorney General, Matt will defend your Second Amendment. He will crack down on violent crime, and he will ensure free, fair, and honest elections. But before he can defeat soft on crime, and she's soft on crime, she's only strong on Republicans, Dana Nessel this fall, Matt, who is a true warrior, and I mean this, he's a tough cookie. We need a tough cookie. He must first defeat a guy who really had a chance to do the job. He's a rhino named Tom Leonard. I don't know him. I just hear horrible things. He had a chance.
It's hard to tell who looks more confused, Trump or the guy he's talking about.
Had his chance to correct it. He had a great opportunity to correct it, but he didn't have the guts to do so. That's not what we want. He's a rhino. He's not going to do a damn thing. Matt, say a few words. We love this guy. Thank you.
Not too many words, though. Trump gets bored.
Thank you. You know, thank you, President Trump. You are an inspiration and a great leader. And I say this, the greatest president in the history of this country.
Oh, God. What a kiss.
I tell you this is what the MAGA movement is about. Remember in January 2017, when Donald Trump was inaugurated, he stood on those steps in Washington, D.C. And remember that picture with those two people sitting over his left shoulder, George W. Bush and Barack Obama. I remember that picture vividly.
I don't know if that was supposed to be a boo line.
Every one of us. He said, today, I give the country back to the people. And that is what we mean when we say America First candidates and Michigan First candidates. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're going to do in November. We are going to beat these Democrats. No longer will we allow the elites in this country to control our elections and to control us. In the spring of 2020, Governor Whitmer shut down our state.
This guy reminds me of Dennis Prager in some way.
And some of us stood up and fought against it. Never submit to tyranny.
Trump's getting annoyed that this guy's still talking.
As Attorney General, we will change this in this state. We will restore this state back to what it once was, a constitutional republic.
The state will be a
I will return
republic.
the office back to the law firm for the people, where I will represent every one of you. But it starts at the convention coming up. Every one of you delegates need to get to your county.
Let's hope it ends there for this guy.
Donald Trump is still the leader of this party.
Interesting.
And Donald Trump has come here today and said to every one of you delegates, support Matt DiPerno, support Christine Caramo. So let me hear it from you right now. Are you going to do that? This right here is the continuation of the MAGA movement, and we have
Trump just signaled a sniper because this guy's been talking too long.
to thank for that the 45th President of the United States, and I dare say, I hope the 47th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Anyway, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. And
Thank you, Matt.
will ban
Thank you.
men.
Great job. And he is really tough, and that's just what you need. He is a killer. We need a killer. And he's a killer in honesty. He's an honest
Hardworking killer.
guy who was feared up here. I just said, I have to meet this guy. Who the hell is he? I'm the one that said, why don't you run? I'm telling you, Matt, you're going to win. And you and Christina have just taken it by storm. Everyone loves you both. And you're going to get to the bottom of everything, and you're going to stop crime, just basic crime in this state. You look at what's happening in Detroit and other parts of your state. It's a disgrace. He'll be there, and Christina will be there. These critical nominations for Secretary of State and Attorney General will take place at the state convention on April 23rd, but the delegates for the state convention will be chosen at your county conventions on April 11th. So you have the convention.
Do you guys think Trump understands the system in Michigan?
We have some of those great delegates, candidates, and others here tonight. I'm going to introduce a few people that have been just outstanding. I love them. They know what went on. They cannot believe what went on. They did so well. We did so well. We did much better than we did the first time. We did much, much better. You know, the most angry person anywhere in this country is Hillary Clinton, because she said, why the hell didn't you do that for me? She's angry at the Democrats. She wants to know why they didn't do it for her.
They're for law and order, guys. Is it law and order to lock someone up who hasn't even been charged with a crime? I don't know. It sounds like it's not due process.
Why the hell couldn't you have found 10,000 votes for me, she said. She's a very angry person. At the county convention,
I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break.
Oh, whoa.
do this for state convention if they will support the Trump ticket. We have an incredible ticket of people. And if they won't give you that assurance, don't give them your vote. And remember, this is not just about 2022. This is about making sure Michigan is not rigged and stolen again in 2024. Remember that. So whatever you do, make sure you send a slate of delegates to support Christina Karamo and Matt DePerno. They're outstanding people. They are unbelievable people. I don't do this, I have to be honest. I don't do this often. I don't do this often for state people. This is so important. What happened in Michigan is a disgrace. It's a disgrace. If you do, they will protect us from a corrupt election. So we're also joined by members of Congress, great people, real fighters for Trump. John Molinar. John, where's John? John, thank you very much. Great job, warrior. Thank you. Thank you. Say hello to everybody. We have a lot of good friends. And somebody that got a big round of applause, I hear, Lisa McClain. Lisa. Thank you. Thank you. Great job. Great job. Lisa, thank you. Warriors. And a great new candidate for Congress who was a brilliant student at Stanford and Harvard. He went to Stanford. He went to Harvard.
It's funny how they brag when they have those credentials, but also attack those places as worthless educations of liberal indoctrination. They want it both ways.
Is running against one of the 10 impeachers. A guy who spells his name M-E-I-J-E-R, but they pronounce it Meyer. The hell kind of a spelling is that? Meyer. Meisher. It's Meisher, but it's actually pronounced Meyer.
What an idiot.
Said, how the hell do you pronounce this guy's name? Nobody knows him. He's done nothing in Washington. I said, how do you pronounce his name? Is it Meisher? Meisher? They said it's Meyer. How the hell do you get Meyer out of it? But I'd like to ask John Gibbs to come up. This Meyer thought he was going to get some free publicity. Hopefully, that fake vote will cost him the election. John Gibbs, a brave man, a great man, a brilliant student. Come on up.
Thanks,
John.
First of all, thank you, President Trump. Thank you for the model you provide for every decent American to stop being afraid for a change.
Ooh, this is cringy.
Aren't you guys tired of people being scared of being called names, being scared of being canceled, being scared of their own shadow? But President Trump has shown us a model for all the regular, decent people all around the country.
These people have 5 followers on Twitter. No one's canceling them.
Being afraid and do what's right. Do you think all these mama bears, these wonderful and amazing mama bears at the school board meetings, we wouldn't be doing that without President Trump's leadership and model he provided for how to stand up against a corrupt system? So let's keep doing that, and let's not be too nice like we always have been. Let's start being a little bit tougher. Let's start being a little bit more ferocious. Let's have some sharp teeth when we go, arr. Isn't that what we learned from President Trump? That is what we've learned.
Yeah.
I'm running against one of the biggest rhinos in Congress who voted to impeach President Trump, the greatest president, as his first vote as a congressman. He's got to go. He's got to get out of there. So let's get out in November. Let's support the Trump candidates and support me, especially running in the Grand Rapids area, West Michigan, 3rd District. Let's go. Let's get Peter Meyer out of there. Let's support President Trump's agenda in Congress. Vote John Gibbs. Thank you. And thank you, President Trump.
Right.
Thank you, John.
Right.
Just a second on John. So he was considered by Ben Carson, a fantastic guy, to be Ben ran HUD. And John was a missionary for a long while, very religious person. And then he went to work with other people and did unbelievably well. And Ben Carson asked him to come.
I'm not huge on proselytizing. So for me, when I hear someone's been a missionary, doesn't really get me all excited.
The smartest people he's ever dealt with. And that's a good recommendation because Ben is just an outstanding person. So thank you, John. John is special. Thank you, John. Also with us are state representatives Matt Maddox. Has anyone ever heard of Matt?
Maddox.
and a really good guy. They changed districts on him.
Uh-oh.
Because I would have supported him for one thing, but we're going to support him for state rep, and he's done a fantastic job. Steve Cara. Steve? Where's Steve? Steve Cara. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. Great job.
We're banning the toxic chatters as quickly as we can, guys.
What the hell was happening? Now we have a candidate for governor who's very popular, who's a fantastic, brilliant candidate, Tudor Dixon. Tudor? Thank you, Tudor. Thank you. I heard you're doing well, too. And we have some state house candidates, and I like to introduce these people because it's very important. It all starts here. Mick Bricker, Jackie Eubanks, Mike Hoadley,
Jack Meyerhofer,
Angela Rigas, Jonathan Roca, Rachel Smith. Thank you all.
some high-risk
And
reading
you're all
there.
leading they're all endorsed by me, every one of them. You're all leading very substantially, I hear. And you're going to give those few names to our friends, right? I had a couple of other recommendations, and I'll listen to them. And state Senate candidates, Mike Detmer, Jonathan Lindsay. They all have my complete and total endorsement.
This is the first time he's ever heard those names, right?
Leading big. You're leading big. They're all leading big. We were in Texas a few weeks ago, 33-0. We have a good record on endorsements. The press hates to talk about it.
His record on endorsements is about 60%, which is slightly better than Chance. But remember that he endorses a lot of incumbents, so it's not so good. I hope he goes into his closing.
I had a woman say it, and I just see her, and she's great. Thank you very much. And there was a guy that said it, and I love him. It's not my thing, but I love him too. I love him too. Thank you very much. Thank you. Is there anything better than a Trump rally? Seriously, is there anything better?
Hard to imagine.
What would we be doing right now? Would be sitting home,
Maybe having a cyst lanced.
eating, calling people, bored, and here we are having a good time trying to save our country, right? True. It's true. We're saving our country. We're going to save it. Start right here in Michigan.
Trump's like, if I wasn't here, I would just be eating uncontrollably, so I'm sure that's what all of you would be doing too.
Oh, no. Or
Eating.
he's in Florida.
It's actually kind of comedic genius. It took me a while to get it, but that's actually brilliant. I would just be eating.
Then he says, this is a beautiful Sunday afternoon to be with. No, this is Saturday. If I ever made a mistake like that, they'd say he should get out of office immediately. But Biden used to make it all the time. He still does, actually. They corrupt. How about he makes a press conference and they always have like 4 corrections. No, he didn't mean that. He didn't mean what he said. He didn't mean any of it. Actually, it's very insulting, though. You know, you're the president, or all these people that...
I mean, it happened to Trump all the time. Trump was like, oh, you got to punish the woman who gets the abortion. And the next day he's like, no, he didn't mean that. What he meant was just abortion's bad. But you don't punish the woman.
Let the mistakes stand. For years, corrupt politicians shut down your factories, shipped away your jobs, and sold off your industries to the other side of the world. Wonderful place, the other side. We lost 32% of your automobile manufacturing business before I came into office. Think of it, 32, 34%, and I predicted it would only get worse. And then I was named, a long time ago, did you know this? A long time, I don't know, your Chamber of Commerce, somebody, who the hell knows what it is? They named me the Man of the Year in Michigan.
Oh, that's great.
And I said, they're stealing your car business. And I was really rebuked. They said, that wasn't a very nice thing to say. I said, but it's the truth, and I was right. That was a long time ago. Man of the Year in Michigan. We've been doing this stuff a long time, actually. But with the help of everyone here today, over 4 incredible years, we saved American manufacturing. And we did it for the state of Michigan probably as much or more than any other state, because...
You guys remember when Trump had COVID and in the middle of it, he forced Secret Service to drive him around in his SUV so he could wave to people?
Taxes on China like nobody ever thought possible. My first week in office, I withdrew from the terrible Trans-Pacific Partnership, which would have been the death blow, a death knell for the U.S. auto industry. Auto people called me, they said, please don't let that happen, sir. And I immediately killed it. I renegotiated Obama's horrendous Korea trade deal, a disaster, made it a very good deal, and saved our auto workers from unfair foreign competition. I ended the horrible, probably the worst trade deal ever made by any country, NAFTA disaster, and replaced it with the brand new USMCA, Mexico and Canada.
We replaced it with the almost identical but differently named USMCA.
Auto workers and workers. And you know, now they're trying to renegotiate the deal. Mexico and Canada want to renegotiate the deal because it's no good for them, which makes me feel good, frankly. And they shouldn't do it. He says, get rid of Trudeau. No, he treated us very nicely because he signed the deal. I didn't think I'd get them to sign it. But it's gone from the worst deal made to the best deal made. And everyone said that couldn't be done. You know, we had to get it through Congress. Everyone said it couldn't be done. And Mexico and Canada have a lot of juice in Congress. I hate to tell you that. But we got it done, and it's a great deal. And I hope Biden doesn't renegotiate that like he's doing with the Iran nuclear deal, which is a disaster. I stood up for China's abuses like no president in history, charging China. We charged China hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes and tariffs, which saved our steel and it saved our auto industry, among others. And no president has ever charged China not 10 cents. Not 10 cents. They never got charged. They were...
Remember, China doesn't pay the tariffs. The American companies importing the stuff pay the tariffs. You guys, I know that.
It's so big, and in my opinion, not sustainable. And I was all set to bring it down to even. And then we had some bad news. Some strange votes came in late at night, 3 o'clock in the morning. A lot of strange things happened. I also authorized millions of dollars to save and rebuild Michigan's vital Sulaks, and got you hundreds of millions of dollars for Great Lakes Restoration Initiative, which is a big deal, hundreds of millions. They've been trying to get that money for many years. The Democrats wouldn't give it. I got it. And they're doing great work, too, I understand, including on the locks. Those locks were falling apart. Those locks were not locks.
You think Trump has any idea what he's talking about right now?
Democrats have put at risk everything that we fought to build in this country. Biden's inflation calamity will cost the average family an estimated $5,200 this year, a giant tax on the American workers. That's bigger than any tax increase that you could have, and they want to raise your taxes. Real wages are falling, and we are teetering on the edge of an economic...
Trump seems like the type of adult who never grows out of not eating fish.
You don't want to know? That's simultaneous inflation and recession. How's that sound? Good? It's not good. And this week, Biden released a budget with plans to turbocharge this disaster with record high spending, the largest tax increase in history, and a business tax hike that will export millions of jobs back to China and other foreign countries and guarantee that companies will leave the United States in record numbers to go elsewhere. You know, they were all coming back under me. I gave them tremendous incentives to come back. I also gave them, they had trillions of dollars, $6 trillion outside of the United States. They couldn't get it back in because of regulation and because of the ridiculous tax. And I got it back in. They came back in, and we simplified the regulations, and we lowered the taxes. They brought the money back in, and they spent the money building in the United States. These are the things we did. These are just a small portion of the things we did. Even Right to Try, we'll go into a different subject, Right to Try, where people that were terminally ill would travel the world if they had money. If they didn't have money, they'd literally go home and die. They'd go home and die. We have the greatest scientists in the world, we have the greatest labs in the world, and we have medicines that are good, but they won't be approved for 5 years. I took it down from 12 years down to 5, and I was going to get it a lot lower than that. But they had to wait for years to get it approved by the...
I like the people nodding about this part where it's completely incoherent. It's just a word salad, and there's people nodding like it makes sense.
If somebody was terminally ill or very ill, and they could prove that, they got the right to use this brand new, beautiful medicine that won't be approved for another period of time. And thousands of lives are being saved all over the country. Just another thing that we did. Another thing that we did. Thousands of lives.
Trump's great on medications and stuff, you know?
And then I see the disinfectant. Is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside? We will have liability. I said, that's okay. They'll sign a document saying we're not going to hold the country liable. The company will have liability. That's okay. We'll sign that the company won't have any liability. They say the pharmaceuticals companies don't want, because if people are terminally ill, that means they're very far down the line, and they don't want it on their record. They want to show that this product works. I said, that's okay. We'll have a separate list so that it won't affect them. They said, well, that's very good. That's all very good. And we got it done. Thousands and thousands of lives are being saved. But with respect to our country, do not lose hope, because with the right leadership, America will be back greater, stronger, and more powerful.
I hope he's going into the conclusion now.
One of the first things we will do when Republicans retake Congress, and it could be big, let's not talk about it. It could be big. I heard today 68 seats, but I don't want to say that, because if it's 67, they'll say Trump suffered a humiliating defeat. Now, I heard numbers from 20 to 68. 68 so far, the highest. Every week it seems to get higher. All of these Democrat Congress people are retiring because they're getting their asses kicked in every poll because they're so incompetent. But we're going to retake Congress, bring Joe Biden and crazy Nancy Pelosi's socialist spending spree to a screeching halt. Our country can't take it any longer.
The world hears Pelosi and Biden called communists and socialists, and they just laugh. They're like, Americans can't possibly be this stupid, can they?
And nobody suffered like Michigan. Nobody suffered stronger than what she did to Michigan. I don't even think New York suffered like you did. Gee, everybody but her husband had to stay in. He could go ice skating. He could do whatever the hell he... Who is the husband? Man, that guy had a hell of a life while you were locked inside your homes. You weren't allowed to go out and cut your grass. You couldn't paint the outside of your house. You're not getting...
Was there ever a point at which someone was not allowed to cut their grass during COVID in Michigan? I've never even heard that. Is there anything behind that? Can anyone fact check that?
He must be a handsome son of a bitch to get away with it. No one ever mentions that despite crushing our citizens with mandates and restrictions, Biden presided over more COVID deaths in 2021 than we had in all of 2020. Think of that. With all of the things that we did and all of the therapeutics, all of the great things we did, more deaths. Biden and your governor, Gretchen Whitmer, imposed rules on you that they did not abide by themselves. In fact, if you take a look around and look at her friendships and look at her people, not only her husband, they took advantage of her and they took advantage of you. They totally failed on the pandemic, and now they are trying to walk away from COVID like nothing happened.
This guy looks super bored right here. At one point, he looked almost like he was dozing.
This November, they're already sucking. I hear they said there's another strain coming in. We're going to have to lock everybody up. Everybody gets locked up. They like that. Gives them power. gives them power. We will never forget what they did to our children and to your children. We will never forget. You look at the difference with Republican-run states. Take a look at the difference, like day and night. And that includes also crime. It's like day and night. The crime in Democrat-run cities and states, nobody's ever seen anything like it. I was given great praise for all we did on Operation Warp Speed. We did a great job with regard to therapeutics and everything else, so much else, from making ventilators and making masks and making everything.
Well, wait, Operation Warp Speed was vaccine.
Congress must stand up for parental rights. It's about time, right?
Is he not mentioning the vaccines?
Parental rights. As president, I was proud to issue the world's first ban on critical race theory. Joe Biden
meaningless
rescinded that
rant.
order immediately. But when we retake Congress, Republicans must ban critical race theory in our schools, ban it in our military, and ban it in every part of our federal, state, and local governments. Furthermore, America's moms and dads must be given a veto over anyone teaching far-left gender theories to their children in school without parental consent.
Veto gender theories. That's new.
It's unbelievable. This week, the Biden administration released guidance endorsing hormone therapy, puberty blockers, and sex-changing surgeries for children and minor youth.
Well, this guy's literally yawning.
A child, and
This
then
guy was
they
yawning.
go up and they said, "Why the hell did you do that to me, mom or dad or government or government?" Biden's Department of Justice has also announced they will punish medical doctors who refuse to perform irreversible.
My gender theory is Trump's not nearly as manly as he believes himself to be, by whatever definition you want to apply to that.
Hell would have ever believed we'd even be talking about this stuff, right? Who would believe it? With their extremist sex and gender ideology, the Democrat Party is waging war on reality, war on science, war on children, war on women. The Republican Party is now the party of American women and American children, and we will protect women in sports. Women in sports. And not allow men to enter into the women's game. You know, I say it all the time. Those people, their seat is not as good as yours, but they're all famous. And some will go to Hollywood someday. There's a producer out there watching. And you have plenty of conservative producers in Hollywood. They just don't like to talk about it. Who'd you vote for? Well, I didn't vote for Trump. Then they get in there. I'm going to vote for Trump. I like paying low taxes. I like having good military, good education, low regulation. Then they come out. Who'd you vote for?
That's a very common working class feeling when you're getting squeezed and you can't afford housing and things are expensive and you haven't gotten a raise and college costs $80,000 a year. And you go, I feel so good that the military keeps buying missiles to store in Germany and in all these stuff. It's just such a great feeling.
Damn business. They never had it. It was like 50% of the people said that. And then some would say crooked Hillary Clinton and some would say Trump, right? This was on the 16 election where we didn't do nearly as well as the 20, but these are minor details. But they'd say Clinton. And so I got a call at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I thought we did so well. Sir, I have some pretty bad news. It's looking really bad. A lot of people are saying the exit vote. You know, it's an exit vote where these sleazebags back there, they ask the people. They say, who did you vote for? And everybody said that she was going to lead, and she was leading big. But one person then called, and it was sad. I actually went to our great First Lady, who everybody loves our First Lady. They love
And I said, ma'am.
She was a great First Lady. Elegant woman, and she loves you. But I went to our First Lady. I said, darling, you know, the athletes say I left it all in the field. I did. I came back from Michigan, by the way. I think Grand Rapids, right? Grand Rapids. I arrived at 4 o'clock in the morning. We had a great time, and the place was packed. We had 34,000 people standing outside of that amphitheater type place. But I went to the First Lady. I said, it looks bad, looks really bad, but I don't feel bad because I left it all out on the field. I was doing 5 and 6 major rallies a day for a week. Who the hell could do that? Who could do that? Nobody could do that. Nobody could do that. Biden couldn't do that. Biden couldn't do that.
Is this considered a cabaret, what Trump's doing?
Ooh, a sentence. And if I would have made one mistake, if there was one mispronunciation of a complex word, they would have said, Trump is losing it. With Biden, they say, oh, it's okay. But it's true. I did 5. I did one day where I did 6. These are big rallies, too. These are with 30, 40, 50,000 people. Hyde. We'd land that beautiful plane and we'd just get off the plane, do a rally at the airport. I didn't have to travel, but we did a lot. And it was looking good. It was feeling good. The spirit was unbelievable. And then I got this call, sir, it's not looking good. I'm telling you, sir, it's just not. He wanted to be nice. This person they call a good person, he wanted to, I said, give it to me. It's not looking good, sir. I said, why? Because the exit voting is looking really bad. And they started going on television, and these geniuses on television, right? These people that are so bad. Sleepy Eyes, Chuck Todd, the whole group.
Now, even this story, like Trump won in 2016, but this story is a lie. By 7:20, the first results came in at 7 p.m. Eastern back in November of 2016. By 7:25, go to my stream. By 7:25, I was saying it's kind of looking like Trump's going to win. 25 minutes after the first results, there was no long period where it looked like Hillary was winning on that night.
You're doing unbelievable in North Carolina. You're going to win Florida big. We did it a second time. I think they spent $300 million against me in Florida. I never saw so many negative ads, right? And I spent about $3.50, and we crushed them. That's because the election was honest. We crushed them here, too. I hate to tell you, we crushed them here. We crushed them here, too. And where is Michon? Is she here? Where's Michon? Where is she? Stand up. We crushed them. Michon Maddox, who's in charge of a lot of different things, and a good person with her husband who's going to be the boss very soon. Congratulations. Thank you for everything. But we crushed him.
Probably time to wrap.
But anyway, so they came out and they said, sir, it's looking bad. This one guy called up, he said, no, there's never been a time where so many people didn't respond or responded with the F word to these people because they hated them. The passion and the hatred of the media. So they'd use terrible language in some cases, and in some cases they just said, I don't want to say. And he said, we consider almost all of those people as Trump voters. You're gonna win big. And we won big. He was right. So I went to the First Lady. I said, I don't think we're gonna make it, darling, but you know what? I left it on the field, and I felt okay.
Your wife is up in the air.
You know, if you don't make it, and it's fair and square, that's acceptable. That's okay. But if you win in a landslide and they steal it and rig it, it's no good. It's not acceptable. It's no good. Be a lot easier for me to say, be a lot easier for me to do like many people have done, get up and just say, congratulations, whoever it is I'm running against. I mean, if you're running, I'd say, congratulations, Joe. Now watch, if I say it, I don't want to say it because they'll put it on like...
Crowd's falling asleep.
Remember the Russia, if you're listening thing? Yeah. So they cut it off immediately because it was a joke. Russia, if you're listening, to do this or that with her emails or whatever the hell it was. And then I laughed, they laughed, the whole place was lit, but they cut it off immediately. It said, Russia, if you're listening, cut. They can
Nobody
do more
cuts
with
it
that
there.
tape than they can.
I have not seen it cut there even once.
So this guy calls up and he said, you know what? I think you're going to win. You're going to win Florida, definitely. You're going to win North Carolina. You're going to win Pennsylvania. You're going to win Michigan, we think. We think. And so I went back to the First Lady. I said, forget what I told you an hour ago. It's looking slightly better. No, this guy's attitude was, anybody that says we're not going to tell you, he considered that a vote. So that was different.
Interesting
because
strategy.
The other people, they don't consider it. He did. He said, you know what? I think that's a vote for Trump. And he said, you're going to win. So I was quite happy. And then in the evening, we did win, and we won big. We won big. And we won big in Michigan. We won big in your state. And I think we did a hell of a job. We saved your auto industry. We saved your steel industry. We saved a lot of things. In addition,
He's talking about 2 elections ago, and he's spending a lot of time on it.
CEOs who get rich off the world's worst human rights abuses abroad while they push radical politics into our classrooms, here and at home. Giant corporations that do business in communist China while they attack our values here in America should face a massive, crushing tax on all profits coming out of China. And I was getting ready to do that. They should lose all tax breaks and all preferential treatment under U.S. law. The American people will not sit idly by and allow our children to be indoctrinated, segregated, and mutilated by the lunatic left.
Mutilated?
Not going to stand for it. Not going to stand for it.
The crowd's back.
Another key step for a Republican Congress will be to restore free speech in America.
Oh.
You know,
I didn't know we
they
lost
say
it.
that in Russia, the people in Russia don't even know they're having a war because they have a rigged press. We have the same rigged press. Maybe not quite as severe, but it'll be there in the not too distant future.
What?
Both the New York Times and the Washington Post have now finally admitted that Hunter Biden's laptop, the laptop from hell, is real, which I think...
It's really a laptop. It's not a floodlight.
With that name first, I think so. I never get credit for fake news. I never get credit for the laptop from hell. I never get credit for Crooked Hillary. We had so many great names. I won't go into the Republican names because I like them all now. But he goes... We don't want to do that. I'm actually getting along with them very well. I'd rather not do that. But we came up with some pretty good names. But this is the laptop from hell. And pollsters say that we would have brought an additional 17 points to our already record-setting election. You know,
What?
I won more votes than any sitting president in history by many millions.
But lost to Biden by 8 million.
We were told that if you got the same thing as last time, 63 by John McLaughlin, great pollster, Towery, great pollster. Sir, if you get 63 million again, you win in a landslide.
Sure.
We got almost 75 million votes and we didn't win.
Right.
Something wrong there.
You lost. That's
You
true.
ever see the bookies in Vegas? They're smart. Vegas bookies and London bookies. It's like starting at around 50-50, and then 60-40, then it's 70-30, going up, 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 up. It's going, then we're almost at 100%. And they called off the bets, it was over. And then they say, wait a minute, something's going on over here.
Sure.
And some of them, many of them wouldn't take any more bets. They said something's wrong here because they thought the election was over. So did I, about 10 of
The London bookies were sure of it.
say almost all of the people in this room said this election is over. We did a great job together. But you know, there's an expression, sometimes the vote counter is far more important than the candidate, and we can't let that ever happen again. And we have to get to the...
Is that Stalin who said that, or is that misattributed to Stalin? That quote rings a bell, but I thought it was like an authoritarian nut who said it.
Matt, Christina, good luck. It's an easy one. Detroit is going to be easy. Detroit will be very easy for them. They're going to look at Detroit. You don't even have to go any further. We're just 7 months away from the most important midterm victory in American history. And we need a landslide so big that the radical left cannot rig it or steal it. You know, at a certain point, like in Florida, like in Texas, remember they said, Texas is in play. You know what that means? It's going to be close. I said, wait a minute. What they're trying to do is rig it because it's going to be close. I said, how is it close? I'm for oil, I'm for God, I'm for guns. Second Amendment. They want no oil. How does this play in Texas? They want no oil. They want no God. And they want no guns. How does that play? No guns, no oil, no God in Texas. And then they say it's going to be close. It wasn't close. We knocked the hell out of them.
It was pretty close, actually.
But we have to win big because there's a certain point at which they can't cheat anymore. It reaches a certain point. We actually, I believe, they substantially went over in some.
It's funny. Trump says it wasn't close. Biden got 46.5% in Texas. That's the most the Democrats gotten since 1976. And Trump just feeds this drivel to the crowd. No Democrat has gotten as much of the Texas vote as Biden got in 2020, dating back to 1976. And Trump's like, no, we crushed them. Actually, it was the smallest margin dating back to 76.
Year, we're going to take back the House, we're going to take back the Senate, and we're going to take back America.
Oh, this is the conclusion now.
And in 2024, most importantly, we are going to take back our beautiful White House. With a Republican Congress, we will fight for more jobs for Michigan families, fair trade for Michigan workers, and more Michigan factories forging more products stamped with that beautiful phrase, made in the USA. That's a beautiful.
I don't know if you guys saw, but at some Mar-a-Lago event with gay Trump supporters in the last couple of days, Trump said to them, you don't look gay. It's a surreal moment.
To keep them in Mexico. They said, no way. I said, that's okay. We're going to tax every damn car you send into our country. They said, like we said, we'd love to keep them in Mexico. We're going to reimpose Title 42, which just today they ended. Basically, that says they can't come into our country. That means they're all going to come into our country at a level that you haven't seen yet. Title 42 is my deal. Add to and strengthen Border Patrol and ICE and law enforcement.
Yeah, it reminds me of when people say to me, you don't look Hispanic, like they're saying it as a good thing. Like, don't worry, I never would have guessed you were Hispanic from looking at you. I'm like, oh, thank you, wow.
Well, finish. It could be done in a few weeks. Finish the wall. The wall is almost complete. That's one of the reasons we had such good numbers. Took us 2.5 years of litigation over 11 lawsuits, so we won them all. We won them all. You know, we appointed over 300 judges. Can you imagine that? 3 Supreme Court justices. 1.5.
So remember, earlier Trump said we built 500 miles of wall. Now he said the wall's almost done, but the wall would have to be, the border's 2,000 miles. So he earlier admitted that it's nowhere near done, but now he says it's almost done.
Hold China accountable for unleashing the virus. We have to do it. Have to do it. There are ways to do it. We will stop the Biden crime wave in Democrat-run cities. We will give our police officers our 100% support and respect. We will give them back their power to do the job like only they are capable of doing. And we will restore law and order in America, and in particular, in our out-of-control Democrat-run cities and states. We will do it whether they like it or not, because it's at a point. Look, the one good thing about the catastrophic election result is that people see how bad they are. If I had won and everything was honest, legit, and I just kept running, we would have continued to go through all this stuff about all these wonderful things. Now they've had a chance to destroy our country in 4 years. So when we go back, if it's me, you got some good candidates and you have some bad candidates. But you know what? If I do make you happy, would anybody here like to see me run? Anybody?
So this is probably how it starts. Years of Trump asking, do you want me to run?
So if we do it, we'll do it just, we can do things the right way, and we'll be able to do it, and nobody will be able to criticize us, because nobody has ever run a country worse in our history and in most other countries' history than the United States of America has been run for the last 15 months. So we'll be able to do it right, and we're going to bring back law and order. We will protect innocent life. We will.
Now, remember, law and order doesn't mean due process. Earlier, they were chanting, lock up Hillary. Hillary's not been charged, nor tried, nor convicted. So for them, law and order doesn't mean due process. Don't confuse that.
Of our nation's founding. We will restore patriotic education to our schools, and we will teach our children to love their country, honor our history, and to always respect our great, beautiful American flag. So in conclusion, our MAGA movement is by far the greatest political movement in the history of our country.
In conclusion, I'm the most important American in history.
And will not even challenge that statement, because there's never been anything like this movement. And the fake news media back there never challenges it. I say it all the time. This is the greatest because they can. This is the greatest movement. You elected a president twice, and we're going to possibly have to do it a third time. Together, we're standing up against some of the most sinister forces, entrenched interests, and vicious opponents our people have ever seen, or our country has ever seen. Despite all you are hearing and seeing of China and Russia and Iran and others, our biggest danger is not from outside coming in. Our biggest danger is from the sick and radical politicians that are knowingly or unknowingly wanting to destroy our country. It's the biggest danger. It's a bigger danger than Russia and China. But no matter how big or powerful these corrupt radicals may be, you must never forget this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you, the people that built it. This is your home, this is your heritage, and our American liberty is your God-given right. Yes, God-given. From Midland to Mackinac, from Lansing to Grand Rapids, and from Battle Creek, I love that cereal, to right here in Washington Township, we inherit the legacy of Michigan patriots who gave their blood, sweat, and tears for this beloved nation. This is the state where Henry Ford invented the assembly line. That's not bad.
Henry Ford, sadly, was a disgusting anti-Semite.
Kellogg revolutionized entire industries. And Michigan is the state that gave us Motown and Mustang and rivaled might. You gave us the rivaled might of the great American Midwest. That's big stuff. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country, and together we are going to save our country. We can't let this happen. We are going to fight for America like no one has ever fought before. We will not let radical left lunatics or rhinos who are unwilling to fight because they're weak and they're very stupid take away from us what has been so brilliantly built for nearly 250 years. We will not let climate hoaxers and extremists use the sanctity of our climate to destroy our country.
What does sanctity of climate mean? I've never even heard that term before. The sanctity of the climate?
Talk, complain, cajole, and laugh at the stupidity of America and its politicians. There is no mountain we cannot climb. There is no summit we cannot reach. There is no challenge we cannot meet. There is no victory we cannot have. We will not bend. We will not break. We will not yield. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never, ever back down as long as we are confident and united. the terrible and very sick people that we are fighting do not stand a chance of victory, because we are Americans. You built this country. You built this country. And Americans kneel to God and God alone. My fellow citizens, this
Trump's a deeply spiritual guy, you can tell.
has only just begun. You know it's only just begun. And it's time to start thinking about greatness for our country again. We don't talk about growing our country anymore. We don't talk about all of those things that really go to making a country great, like we used to many, many years ago, decades ago. All we talk about today is race, inflation, and the environment. We talk about nothing else. We don't talk about what it takes to make our country great again.
Right.
And we always have to remember that we are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious American nation. That's what we are. We're a glorious American nation, and you should be so proud of it. And so, with the help of everyone here today, thank you, Michigan, and citizens all across our land, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again.
Mexico
We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America.
This is such a dumb gimmick he does at the end of every speech. It's so dumb.
We will make America great again. Thank you, Michigan. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.
Obama. Mexico. And we will men.
Really quite an event. An extremely corrosive 90 minutes for American democracy, showing us really the bottom of the barrel of political discourse. He told many lies, and the crowd liked them. And very surreal. I mean, really, the world laughs. Whenever I cover these things, two things happen in my email. Oh, thanks to everybody. Oh, thank you. All these people gifting all these subscriptions. Thank you. Two things happen in my email. Trump supporters who were just looking for the rally are really mad at me. They really don't like me. So I get emails from them. Oh my God, look at this guy. What a buffoon. And then the other thing is people from other countries write in and they say, what the hell is wrong in the United States, David? What the hell is wrong in the United States? Those are the two major responses to covering these events. From pointing at people. Look at this. I mean, it is humiliating. Look at this guy. Yeah. Anyway, it's all pretty depressing. It's all pretty depressing. And, you know, it's not clear if lead paint chips are to blame or some kind of strange. Anyway, let's not speculate. Let's not speculate. But it's a very scary time for the United States of America.